Hey guys, my name's Eric. Thanks for watching my video. Today I'm going to show you how to make carnitas, otherwise known as Mexican pork. This is the first recipe I'm making a video where I'm going to feature the good old crock pot, or otherwise known as the slow cooker. I absolutely love cooking with the slow cooker. It makes it so easy. You can throw some ingredients in it in the morning before you leave the house for work, and you can come home later on in the early evening, open that front door, the whole house smells delicious, and you got a home cooked meal waiting for you when you get home. This meal is very easy to make. It just needs some basic ingredients. The main ingredient, of course, is the pork. I'm using pork shoulder roast because it was on sale for 99 cents a pound. You can use pork butt, also work. Stay away from any of the real lean porks like, pork tenderloin, pork loin. In order for this recipe to work, you need to have some fat. So get the least expensive cut of pork that you can, because cooking it all day in the slow cooker is going to break down all that fat and make it delicious and tender. When we're done, we're going to have a nice shredded pork that we can use for just about anything. Enchiladas, tacos, burritos. You can put some barbecue sauce on it and make a sandwich. It freezes very well. And it's a great way to feed a big group of people for a little bit of money. Like I said, this cost me 99 cents a pound. I got an 11-pound piece here. Of course, it does have a bone in it, which weighs something, but still, what other meat can you get for 99 cents a pound? Very basic ingredients. We got some salt, some garlic powder, some ground cumin, ground coriander, oregano. We're going to put a couple onions in there. And later on, I'll also show you how to make some Pico de Gallo, which is what you want to put on top, or at least what me and my wife like to put on top when we're going to make some tacos and burritos tonight for dinner. So let me cut this down into some manageable sized pieces, and I'll be back in a second to show you how we get this started in the crock pot. Alright guys, here we are with the ingredients. First we're going to mix our dry ingredients. We're basically, the ingredients I'm going to tell you are different from what I'm actually mixing, because I quadrupled the recipe just because of this huge piece of pork I have. I'm going to give you measurements for a 4 to 5 pound pork roast. And of course you can double, triple, or quadruple depending on how big your pork is. But we're going to start off with regular salt, 2 teaspoons salt. We're going to do 2 teaspoons garlic powder. We're going to do 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of ground coriander and 1 teaspoon of dry oregano. Get a little salt stuck in there. Let's get that out. And that's pretty much it for the dry ingredients. Mix that around real good. Now the next part here is optional, but I just like to add a little flavor. I cut up a couple onions here. I'm putting the onions in the crock pot first. They kind of break down as you cook it and help give the sauce a little bit of flavor. I take some bay leaves here, put them on the bottom. They're easy to be removed once everything is done. Now we're going to take this pork and stick it in the crock pot. Like so. Boy, it barely fits. And now here's where we're just going to pour this mixture on top of the pork. You don't really have to worry about it. It's going to kind of coat itself as it breaks down a little bit. Just like so. And then some chicken broth. Now, normally you would just use a couple cups. I got 4 cups here just because of the size of this pork, like I mentioned. You want to make sure not to rinse off the rub, so kind of pour it on the side. But you want some moisture in there as this starts to heat up. I might add a little bit more later on, depending on how this starts to look. And that's pretty much it. Now comes the easy part. We just put the lid on it. We turn this thing on low, and away we go. This should take anywhere 6 to 8 hours on low. If you're in a hurry and you're going to be around, you could start it off on high just to bring it up to a higher temperature. and then kick it down to low. But yeah, just turn it on low. In a few hours, this house should be smelling delicious. We'll be back a little later. I'll kind of show you how it looks like maybe in 4 or 5 hours. Once it's fully cooked, we're going to pull it out and we're going to shred the pork with some forks and add the shredded pork back. At that time, we might need to add a little bit more liquid, a little bit more chicken broth. But we'll see how it goes. That's it. I'll see you guys in a few hours. All right, guys, we're back. It's been just over 6 hours. This has been simmering all day. And I have to say, the house smells wonderful. My wife came home from the store. She's like, oh my goodness, it smells so good. That's one of the things that's great about using the slow cooker. But like all my cooking videos, I'm trying to make it a habit to do a beer review. So today I'm going to do a beer review on Belching Beaver. I love that name. It's a local brewery out of Vista, California. And this one is called Hop Highway 78, which is named after an actual California highway down near San Diego. They are in the city of Vista, California, and they first started making this beer to honor the 50th anniversary of the city of Vista. And this beer actually won a silver medal in the 2014 World Beer Championships. So can't be that bad. So I'm looking forward to it. They said it has some hint of grapefruit, passion fruit, and a citrus flavor. Whoops. Ooh, poured it a little too quickly. And it is 7.3% alcohol by volume. I'm just going to let that head settle down. Let's take a look at this here. Oh, it smells so good. I'm just going to flip this over now because it's been pretty much sitting all day. You can see how much liquid. But, you know, as I take this out and shred it, which I'll show you how to do shortly, it's already falling apart, which is a very good sign. Okay, flip that piece over. I already see the bone here. That's going to give all this really good flavor. All right, that's good enough for our purposes right now. I'll continue to cook this on low. In a little bit, I'm going to pull the pork out, show you how to shred it, so forth. But let's get back to the more important thing on hand, trying this beer. Very good. Yeah, definitely taste that citrus flavor. So again, Belching Beaver, Hop Highway, Indian Pale Ale, Highway 78, by the Belching Beaver Brewery in Vista, California. Very tasty. Alright guys, we'll be back in a minute and I'll show you what we do with this next. Alright guys, in the meantime, while we let this cook a little longer, I'm going to show you how to make a Pico de Gallo, which is kind of a homemade topping for carnitas, whether you put it in a taco or burrito. It's real basic. You start with equal parts onion and tomato. So I'm just going to mix this in here. Next, you want to add some fresh cilantro. Now, cilantro, for those of you that are unfamiliar, it's an herb similar to parsley. You want to chop it up really fine like this. And you just add some of that. I put a little garlic salt on there. And a little bit of regular old black pepper. And what kind of preserves it, because you want to mix this up real good and let it sit in the fridge for at least a half hour to kind of get nice and cold. But you want to take some limes and you want to squeeze some lime juice in here. That kind of prevents the onions from turning yellow, the acid in the lime juice. You can also save some of these lime slices when we make tacos and burritos to kind of squeeze some on top. So that's pretty much it. I'm just going to mix this up like this. And it tastes so good when you make it homemade. Of course, when you make your tacos and burritos, you can add your favorite salsa, you know, store-bought salsa, whether you like it medium, which is what I prefer, or hot, what have you. But that's basically it. Another thing, you know, my wife likes to keep it kind of pretty authentic. We're in Southern California, and we're very close to Mexico, a couple hours away from the border. She likes to use this cojita cheese, which is this Mexican crumbling cheese. This may or may not be available depending on where you live, but it's a hard cheese, and you just kind of take it and it just kind of crumbles, and you just kind of crumble it into like a fine, little powder here, and you sprinkle that on top with the Pico de Gallo on your burritos, whether you're going to use flour tortillas for burritos or you can use the corn tortillas. You want to make like little street tacos. So there you have it. I just wanted to show you how to make the Pico de Gallo, tell you about the cojita cheese, and I'm going to save some of these limes for later on, squeeze on it when we're done. I'll be back in a little bit to show you how to shred this. Alright guys, after around 6, 8, 10 hours, however long, when it's done, you want to pull the pork out in pieces like I've done here. I just want to show you how to do this on a smaller scale, but you got to do it to all of it. You want to just take the pork here, and you're just going to kind of take a couple big forks, and you're just going to kind of shred it apart. You can see this meat here. Just going to kind of rip it apart with the forks. Now, if for some reason it doesn't seem to tear easily, it's not cooked enough. Just, maybe kick it up to high. So this is it right here. You just shred it. Now, you are going to experience once in a while some really fat pieces. Like just a big glob of fat that might have been sitting on the outside. Obviously, you don't want to eat that. Some of the fat is melted down into the gravy. Just pull those chunks of fat aside, throw them out. Mainly what you want to do here is just get all the meat finely shredded like this. And once you get this all shredded, you're going to just simply return this back to the crock pot. And as you stick it in those juices, these shredded pieces of pork are going to absorb some of those juices. What's also good about these juices is it makes it very easy for you to reheat this, because basically, if you want to save some, put some in the freezer. You want to put a big chunk of the shredded pork in a freezer bag. You want to add a little bit of that chicken stock, the liquid that's been cooking in, and then you could freeze it up for 3 months in the freezer. When it's time to eat something, you come home, you're looking for something quick and easy, you don't feel like slaving over a stove. You can take a bag out, you can just stick it in some warm water in a saucepan or in the sink until it kind of defrosts a little bit, and then you can just take it out of the bag into a bowl. You can heat it in the microwave, or what I like to do is I like to lay it flat onto a pan like this, lined with foil, and I like to stick it in the oven, 400 degrees under the broiler, so it actually crisps up a little bit, so it gets a little bit crispy on the edges, which is actually how they do it in Mexico. They kind of fry it in lard and get a little bit of a crisp coating on it. So that's it. You just want to shred it up like this. I'm going to go ahead and shred this all up, put it back in the crock pot, and we'll be back a little later on when I get to the next step. Alright guys, last step is just to kind of arrange it on a pan, single file, so the whole top of it can get nice and crispy. I put it in the oven at 400 degrees and broil. Just keep an eye on it. We're just trying to make the top of it crispy. So I'll show you how it looks when it comes out in just a second. Alright guys, it's been around 10 minutes. This is looking good. And this is exactly how you want it. It's nice and crisp. The only problem is it's a little dried out. So what I always do is I take some of the juice and just kind of use that to cover the meat. Get some moisture back into it, because this is really actually where all the flavor is. And just let this sit for a few minutes, and now you can just dish it out in tacos, burritos, however you like it, and I'll show you how we like to eat it in just a second. Alright guys, the finished product. My wife likes the little small tacos with corn tortillas. I prefer the flour tortilla wrapped up kind of burrito style. We're going to serve it with some dirty rice and some green salsa sour cream. Finish it off just squeezing a little bit of lime juice on there. Man, squeeze a little on hers as well. Really good stuff. So thanks for watching guys. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll be making more videos using this slow cooker here in the future. Talk to you later.